Alright there, my name's Ragtag and I'm the overlord of the average, the CEO of the gutter tier gaming industry, pretty much the best shite player you've ever seen in your life. So today, I'm going to give you practical tips for losers in Apex Legends because only the man who has made 10,000 mistakes can give advice to the hungry viewer, and I'm only talking about my fuck-ups from this week alone. What day is it?
Tuesday.
Oh man, I am a bona fide expert, and I used the word bona fide hoping it had something to do with virility and sexual prowess, but if that was the case, scientists would all be humping each other and they'd never get any work done. Yeah, right. So, you're a bag of shite at Apex Legends, and you need to better understand the way of the cunning warrior. So let's do that. Now, many of you are so incredibly bad at this game because you've got no aim, no patience, no clue, no job, no self-respect, nobody likes you. In fact, your own dog even thinks you're a scumbag. So, winning more games is going to come down to some practicality and a healthy dose of dumb fuck luck. First up, let's take a look at some general points, starting with your team. So you might think that you're a lobotomized donkey at Apex Legends, and you'd be right, but sometimes your team will be a whole lot worse than you are, which probably doesn't happen often in your case, but when it does, this is when your skills at the game have a chance to flourish. Because only when you are put under immense pressure does this give you a chance to overcome the ravenous wolves that are ready to devour your ballsack. Solo play can give you an increased awareness for every decision that you make, but thinking back to your team, do everything in your power to keep those clunky, cretinous, mutton chop, fanny ball, dumb fuck losers alive, so that you don't have to elevate yourself. We don't want that now, do we? Anyway, you will know early if you're amongst the dim-witted when you keep an eye on their pacing. If the little arrow doesn't move much, their actions per minute are going to be in single digit when it comes to combat, but still, bait is bait. So you'd be better off pinging your intentions often, look at the minimap a bit more, and try and keep them moving so that they can die on your terms. Listen to the sounds of their weapon as well and see what they favour. This will allow you to work out if they prefer distance or at close range. A lot of pathetic losers prefer to hold up inside buildings or take pot shots at people from 2 miles away, so you'll be perfectly acquainted with these kind of people. You might get lucky though, and you'll get some players who tend to rush their opponents with SMGs and shotguns. They're clearly the lords of this game, and that's good for you because you can pick up their weapons when they die next to your dumbass. However, some teammates ping a direction and run at it no matter what loot you've seen, care package you've noticed, or even if you're spotting an enemy running nearby, it doesn't matter to them. You've got a headstrong Octane on your team who jams himself in the dick with stimulants, and he's not going to stop running now. I've had this so much recently that I end up just making a choice. You basically try and catch up with the bastard before he kills himself, or you work with the other teammate you've got left and just do what you can. Either way, you're a bag of shite and you're not going to win this game like that anyway, so just pick one of the two and move on. You all know I'm quite partial to my shotguns, so a quick practical tip for you fellow double Peacekeeper fans out there. A lot of the time, jumping in combat is one of the things you need to be extremely careful of. If you're facing some sort of automatic weapon, you'll probably be alright against some other crispy nooblet, but be very careful with strafe jumping against another shotgun user. Because I can tell you right now, this is how I get most of my eliminations. Someone jumps, I'll very likely hit them in the cock, and here's why. The moment they've reached the height of their jump, the apex if you will, there is this eternal moment, a rift in the time continuum that makes it easy as fuck to land your shot. So if you find yourself against one of these space hoppers, give it a moment till they reach that spot and send them back to the menu with raw nipples and a bleeding arsehole from a well-placed barrel of buckshot. Now if I was to compare player skill to martial artists where Shroud and Dizzy can be seen as your Bruce Lees of the world, let's just assume you're one of those guys who read a book about ninjas and bought a black belt from an online catalogue before faking a backstory that allows you to become the first Caucasian Tokugawa assassin, when in fact, you need to be aiming a little bit more for like Jackie Chan. Happy to put your body through hell, create a lot of laughs for everyone else in the game, but also make the map your playground. Now when you 1v1 another player, let's just say he goes around the car, but he catches sight of you cutting him off. You don't know if he did or not until you get to the front, and then you go, alright, he has seen me, right, time to back up, check the other way, but use the high ground to make less of your surface area hitbox available. Enemy realizes that his position sucks, runs away the wrong way, get fucked. Next, pillars. Really good for dealing with enemies from different angles. Stay out in the open to fire, and then tuck your balls back inside your shorts when you are reloading. Now, you see you're taking damage from another position, so that's alright. You just be nice and calm, and then get a cheeky zipline up there they'll never see coming. Fuck! Right, next up is survival. Sometimes you're just gonna get one of those games. No matter where you look, there is no gun. Your team is in a similar position with very little gear available, and they go down, leaving you with a choice. You can go and face an unknown amount of enemies in Mortal Kombat, or run the fuck away until you get a gun and then recover their banners. However, you hear this.
Enjoy the game, bro.
No weapon, no health, no team, no hope. Just give up, right? No! Fuck that! You need to flex your nether balls and bring out the will to win. Scramble around the edges of a rock face if you have to evade your pursuers to get to the safety of a building with the prospect of absolutely fucking nothing. No problem, just check upstairs and get cucked into an ever-living meme. Well, that's alright, the survival continues. Putting down a cheeky portal to speed things up and a way out in case enemies happen to pursue you, only to meet a mirage, and the plan goes to hell, but that's alright, because we've got one more trick up our sleeves. If you find yourselves in terrain that has diagonal indent and weird topography, along with a healthy dose of dumbfuck enemies who got their headphones from the dumpster, this is gonna work just fine. Of course, they will inevitably double back when they realise what I've done, so now we would go and hide underneath them. Moving around crouch doesn't attract the attention like running, so once I've bamboozled the bamboozler, they take my portal, and I'm clear to fuck off and get myself some actual loot. And how long did I survive in that game, you may ask yourself? Well, an abandoned legend, bleeding and alone, surrounded by predators. She makes her way to yet another building, expecting disappointment as with all the others. But this time, she finds a death box, and in it, a weapon. Some more luck upstairs as Wraith spots the syringes. Sadly, the silly bitch forgot to pick up a second EVA 8, but likely, the poor girl was just panicking about now. Sitting in a corner with the sound of the door opening, she heals. Probably time to fight, she thinks. But would a girl be better to surprise her enemies or let them come to her? Better still, let everyone else murder each other and emerge later, predatorial and cunning with her attacks. She does neither. She just sits there. Cowardice has took hold, perhaps. Or maybe a survival experience bonus was running through her head. Only the gods truly know. Again, Wraith considers giving up and letting death consume her. But then she remembered those sarcastic, taunting words.
Enjoy the game, bro.
She clenched her fist and with renewed vigor approached the outside world with a plan. Perhaps she could stealthily glide into the final few squads with carefully devised movements and a shit ton of luck. Three squads left and both teams nearby. All that would be required now was patience. Let the final two rivals fight it out. Pounce when the time was right. So for now, the lion would linger. And whilst many look down upon players who choose the shadows over the light, many can't make this strategy work. Mainly because it's fucking boring. Take this, you bastards! Are you fucking cunt?
Sometimes I'm known as a savior, a hero, the one you can